Welcome, beautiful soul family. In today's transmission, we will deliver a light language for shame, and we will be speaking about the subject and topic of shame and toxic shame and the effects that it has on one's sense of self-worth, on one's sense of power, and their confidence in the world. We will also be going into some methods of healing for toxic shame and healing for shame in general, so that you can really break free of feeling the need to hide yourself and of feeling like you need to suppress your shame and any emotions surrounding it, like anger or feeling small, feeling unworthy, feeling like you're not good enough because of being shamed at some point in your life. Often as children, we find that the people around us can shame us, belittle us, make us feel lesser than, make us feel like what we're doing is not right, make us feel wrong in certain situations where we may simply be trying to explore life and explore our imagination to its fullest extent. But obviously those who are in the field of adulting at the time do not see it that way. And shame is actually a topic that I've been called to speak about for quite some time now, but I just needed to feel ready to speak about this because it is quite a heavy subject. And to really go in depth, you need to take some time to really process the emotion and the energy of shame. When we suppress shame, it can turn into physical illness and turn into sicknesses and ailments and diseases within the body, as when you feel at dis-ease, you can form a disease. So sometimes you can feel queasy in the stomach, you can feel nervous, you can feel tense, you can feel nauseous when you're feeling shame. There are so many different ways that the energy of shame can play itself out. Usually when others point fingers at us, or when others make us feel lesser than, or like we are undeserving, unworthy, or that we've done something wrong, or that we ourselves perceive that we've done something wrong that's going to hurt other people, we internalize this feeling of shame. It almost becomes like a defense mechanism where we make ourselves feel bad for having done something that we perceive was not right, or that we perceive was the wrong thing to do. Shame and guilt are two of the most paralyzing and debilitating on your journey, as they can become great blocks to giving and receiving love freely. They can become immense blocks to really stepping out into the world in your confidence and in your power, and they can seriously affect your self-worth and self-esteem. I have done a light language for guilt, so I will link that in this video, and I have also done a self-love and self-worth light language along with affirmations that can greatly help you in healing toxic shame and shame in general. And I've also done forgiveness light language and a forgiveness affirmations video, which will also assist you in that process of forgiving yourself so that you're able to relieve yourself of some of that shame. Some researchers have described shame as being a healthy version of guilt, because guilt can really move us into positive thinking, it can move us into positive behavior. However, when it comes to toxic shame, then we can really become self-critical, and it can have a severe impact on the way that we view ourselves, the way that we evaluate ourselves, and the way that we express the emotion of shame. So this might come through in the form of insecurities, worthlessness, telling ourselves that we're stupid, telling ourselves that we're foolish and silly and inadequate, or just telling ourselves that we're lesser than. And we can create this harsh internal dialogue by habit that can perpetuate a cycle of going into these shameful episodes where we just talk down on ourselves and make ourselves feel really, really bad, and we can get really overwhelmed and become anxious in that process. In partaking in this sort of self-analysis, we convince ourselves that we're undeserving, and we undermine ourselves, and that can significantly impact how present we are with ourselves and how present we are with others, and simply being present in the here and now moment. We can find ourselves always trying to project into a different space, time, and reality, and try to suppress our feelings with things outside of ourselves, whether it be food, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs, whether it be watching TV, any form of distraction that helps us to run away from feeling the emotion of shame. Again, when we try to repress or run from the shame rather than facing and feeling it, we become more prone to becoming angry in situations. We become more prone to rejecting our desires for love, our desires for connection, our desire for validation, and our desire to really feel at one with all things. As children, we need that approval and validation from our higher ups, which are our parents at the time, because we depend on them for that type of validity. We depend on them for that type of approval. We depend on them for a sense of self-worth. However, if those who have come before us have not healed and have not really integrated those emotions within themselves, then they can sometimes unconsciously or even consciously project some of their own shame and guilt onto us, or project their anger onto us, which again then perpetuates that same cycle of us going into shame, then it turning into anger, then it turning into feeling powerless, and so on and so forth. Shame is also one of those things that we carry not just from childhood, but it's something that can happen in our early adult years or even into our adult years, when we feel like people around us are judging us, making us feel bad about our choices, making us feel bad about choosing our own path, following our own soul's purpose, leaving us out, making us feel outcasted, telling us that what we're doing is completely absurd, it is completely ludicrous, and it can make us feel a sense of not belonging and not fitting in and feeling like we don't really belong on planet Earth. And that feeling can really bring us a sense of shame where we'd rather just hide and go into isolation and just go into hermit mode and not really want to come out and express ourselves and not really want to step into our confidence, because when we feel we step into our confidence, others point fingers at us and then put us back into the shell that we came out from to begin with. So when we don't have a healthy sense of self and a healthy sense of inner dialogue, then we can again begin to create those programs and subconsciously program ourselves to feeling shame, even in situations where we're not doing anything to feel shameful for. On another hand, when we have made mistakes, the type of mistakes that have made us feel guilty, they can also make us feel shameful when we feel like we've let other people down or we've let ourselves down through making certain decisions that at the time we felt was the right decision. One thing I want to tell you, fam, is that everything in life happens for a reason. So when you start to view life in this way, and when you start to realize that everything is working out how it's supposed to, and that everything is a learning lesson, we're here to grow, we're here to evolve. It's part of the human condition for every single person to feel every single type of emotion while they are alive. It's the reason why we came here in physical form, as spirit in physical form, so that we can experience those emotions on a physical level, on an experiential level, so that we can truly understand what it means to be human, so that we can truly understand and transcend and evolve and grow and become who we are destined to be. So feeling bad about ourselves and putting ourselves down for something that is inherently natural to the human experience becomes almost obsolete when you start to realize that when you feel a certain emotion, all you must do is sit there and allow yourself to process through it. Rather than feeling bad, rather than putting yourself down, know that this is something that every single person that walks this planet has to experience and has to go through. And that's how we grow through what we go through, fam. When we let ourselves experience it, when we realize and we understand that we really are all one in the same in terms of experiential, emotional learning, in terms of evolving. And it's really up to us how we take those emotions and what we do with them, whether we let them keep us stuck or whether we allow them to become the stepping stone to becoming our greatest version. Shame is definitely one of those emotions that can be cultivated in oneself due to the belittlement of the efforts and achievements that you've made, any ideas that you've had, anything that you've thought that was beyond the box, beyond the norm, beyond societal programs and conditions, and other people weren't used to that concept or weren't used to that idea, so they may have put you down, completely shot you down immediately. And I feel there are many of you on this channel that listen to me that are those type of people, your star seeds, your chosen ones, your light workers, your twin flames, your people who are here on soul missions with a soul purpose. So it is completely natural for you to be thinking outside of the box. It is completely natural that your ideas, the imagination that you have, the vivid sense of foresight that you have is not going to be understood by others. It's not going to be understood by society, and it's not going to be understood by the people around you who have accepted to just be like robots. They've accepted the zombie lifestyle of just following what Simon says, and nobody knows who Simon really is, you know? And it's because you're here to pave a new way. You're here to plant the seeds for the future. You're a star seed. You're here to bring the stars from the galaxy and plant them onto Earth and help bring heaven to Earth. Help people realize that heaven already is on Earth and so is hell. It's just a matter of your state of mind. So when you start to view it that way, you start to realize that all those experiences that you've had where you felt shamed by others, or where you yourself have shamed yourself or put yourself down, it happened so that you could realize that you're more than that. You are more than the emotion. You are not the emotion. It is simply just energy in motion. And when you transmute that energy from negative into positive energy, you can neutralize it and balance it and turn it into a harmonious energy. You can turn it into something where your setbacks become your greatest comebacks. You can turn it into a learning lesson where you realize that you may have made a mistake then, but you're not going to continue to make that mistake because you've learned from the fact that when you made that mistake, it made you feel really bad. It made you feel shameful. And so you're not going to regurgitate that. You're not going to recreate that. Instead, you're going to become an alchemist of your reality. You're going to transmute that energy, and you're going to make your choices and make your decisions from a more informed state of being, from a more expansive state of being, from a place of mindfulness, awareness, and an experiential learning, from an experiential understanding. And that's powerful, fam. It's a very powerful place to be when you start to realize that emotions like shame or guilt or embarrassment or anything like that that keeps human beings stuck, keeps human beings feeling paralyzed, keeps us away from what we truly want and makes us hold ourselves back, makes us get in our own way, is only there. It's just a little boulder. It's just something that's there. It's a stepping stone to wisdom. It's there to help us to really expand more into who we are and to accept and embrace ourselves for who we are and to heal ourselves from within so we can radiate and illuminate who we are without. So as I said before, there is shame and toxic shame. And toxic shame is something that you may experience in childhood or even in adulthood due to any type of physical, sexual, mental or emotional abuse, any form of neglect, any form of rejection and abandonment. I do also have a light language for rejection that may help you in this process, so I will link that in this video for you also. At first, you may feel completely baffled and confused by the behavior of others if they abuse you, whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally, and especially when they are people that you deeply, deeply care for and love. And this confusion may lead you to believe that you're not worthy of love and attention, you're not worthy of affection because somebody that you care for and love is neglecting you, because somebody that you care for and love is abusing you, so therefore it's your fault and you may not be good enough. This can be one of the reasons why a lot of people stay in abusive relationships and abusive situations and partnerships, as well as abusive families and dysfunctional toxic environments, is because they have believed that the people outside of them that they love so much can't be wrong, so therefore they must be wrong, and they internalize it and they feel to some sense that they deserve to be treated like absolute shit, when the truth is hurt people can only hurt people. So if the people who we love have been completely traumatized and abused and neglected and rejected and feel ashamed within themselves, then if they're projecting that energy onto us, that really doesn't belong to us. It's something that needs to be healed within them. So people who are in pain can only bring you pain. They can only cause you pain. People who don't love themselves cannot truly love you until they've learned how to love themselves. And when you step back and when you realize this, then you can begin healing your own stuff from within. You give them back their energy with love and light. You give them back all the stuff that they've projected onto you, or you send it completely up to the Most High and you transmute it. But anytime that somebody is projecting, I highly recommend that you think out in your mind, or you can say it out loud, I give you your energy back with love and light. That way you are transmuting it into positive energy and creating good karma between the both of you, regardless of what the other person is projecting and spewing onto you. And from that point, you cut their stuff off from your energy field, and you only become responsible and accountable for your own stuff. The pain within you, the hurt within you, the feelings within you of rejection, abandonment, and shame and guilt. That way, once you heal, you're not going to bleed onto others. Once you heal, you're not going to cut other people for your own wounding, and you're going to be able to be fully responsible and accountable in situations, and even be able to say sorry when you are wrong and forgive yourself when you are wrong. And step back and respect yourself in any situation that shows up in your field, because you know that you're ready to face absolutely anything that comes at you, because you have taken the responsibility for your own internal state of being. That's a very powerful place to be, fam. When you can become consciously aware of your own feelings and emotions and take that type of accountability for the trauma that you have experienced, and rather than blaming everybody else and judging everybody else, you can just focus on what you need to focus on, and you can heal from within. Everything starts to shift in your reality, and everything starts to mirror that brand new version of you to you. If you find that the feeling or emotion of shame has made you harshly self-critical towards yourself, and that you feel like you constantly keep going back into that mindset of toxic positivity or unhealthy perfectionism, or you're trying to be something that you're not, you're trying to create an illusion or a character of something that you're not to project that out into the world, then I would highly recommend that you begin to work on some mindful practices and a more healthy inner dialogue with yourself. It's okay to not feel okay, fam. You don't have to always be shitting rainbows and ice creams. That's what they mean by toxic positivity, when we try to make ourselves look and appear and feel good, when really on the inside we feel completely down and out and in the dumps. It's okay to sit with yourself when you're feeling that way. It's okay to take some time away from the world and to go into hermit mode, but to remember not to stay there, to remember not to isolate and hide forever. When you take that time out, do it consciously, so that you know that this is the time I'm setting for myself. This portion of time, I need this. This portion of time is something that I need, and something that I'm going to do consciously, so I can set this time aside for me and do the healing that I need to do, so that when I do resurface, when I do emerge, or when I do show up in the world, I'm bringing the best of me. I'm bringing true positivity. I'm bringing the highest of intentions that's not coming from a space of lack or void or trying to prove myself to others, but that's coming from a healed state of being, so that the way that I show up in the world can be a beacon of light and healing to others that encounter my presence. One thing that is so beautiful about this life is that in any point in time, we can make the conscious decision and we can literally choose to change. We don't have to stay the same. We don't have to continue doing the same thing we've done over and over again and expecting a different result. We can choose to take our power back. We can choose to change, and we can choose to really hone in on those aspects of ourselves that may be holding ourselves back, so that we can really move forward with ease and grace. And to do that, there are some practical steps that you can take that can begin to help you to heal the energy of shame. So one thing that you can do is develop greater self-compassion. Develop a greater inner compassion for yourself. Be kinder to yourself. Work on self-love, self-care, self-nurturance practices. Like I said, the self-love and self-worth affirmations and light language videos can help you in this process. Affirmations alone will help you to develop a healthier inner dialogue. They'll help to reprogram your subconscious mind to powerful, positive thoughts, which will naturally begin to change and shift the way that you operate energetically and in your physical environment. Another thing that you can do is become more consciously aware, and this is something that meditation will really help you with. So even if you just sit down for 5 minutes a day, if you're not somebody who's good at meditating and quieting the mind, then I highly recommend focusing on your breath when you're meditating, and just completely focusing on the ins and outs of your breath, so that you can calm yourself down. You can calm down your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, and you can really become present within your space. Once you become present, you will begin to develop a capacity to observe rather than absorb, respond rather than react. Another thing you can do is become a witness to how you're feeling, to your emotions, to your wounds, and mourn them. So the way to do this is to simply sit down and feel. One of the greatest pieces of advice I ever got from a beautiful woman who I consider like my soul mother, she told me to just sit with it. Anytime I was feeling something, she told me, sit with it. Sit with it and just feel it. See how it makes you feel. Go anywhere that you need to go to do this. You can be in your car. I do this in my car a lot because that's just it's like my little shuttle away from the world. Or in my room, or somewhere where it's just me and my emotions and my presence. And what you can do is, as that feeling is rising up within you, just sit there and really feel it. Talk to yourself through it. Reparent yourself through it. Hold yourself through it. Speak it out. Do what you need to do. Have that dialogue with yourself and consciously mourn the pain that you're feeling. If it hurts, let it hurt. Let the feeling pass through you. Let it go. As it's arising, let it out. Let it go. Let it pass through. The more you allow yourself to consciously sit with any form of pain or any form of emotion that comes up that makes you want to run, the quicker that pain will dissolve and the quicker you will be able to move forward. Again, it's just energy in motion, so when you allow that energy to move in the direction that it wants to move in rather than shoving it back down, it's going to be easier for that emotion to release itself freely. And as I mentioned before, forgiveness is key when it comes to healing guilt and shame for former actions, for things that you've done in the past, for things that the old you did but the new you is no longer willing to take part in. It's imperative that you can forgive yourself. It's imperative that you can tell yourself that it's okay. You've done nothing wrong. You've just been living life. You're learning. You haven't done anything bad. You're not a bad person. You're just experiencing life. That's really all there is to it, fam. It's an experience to be had. And as long as you're willing to make more informed decisions as you move forward, then you're all good. There's nothing to worry about, and there's no reason to look back once you are able to heal and move through this emotion. Now, when it comes to practical tips to heal and overcome toxic shame, as I mentioned before, mindfulness meditation will really assist you. It's a very powerful strategy in becoming less reactive to your thoughts and feelings and allowing yourself to just observe, to just feel, and to heal as you feel. It will also change the way in which you respond to things, because as you meditate and as you become more mindful and more present in the moment, you're able to actually listen and hear what others are saying with a more neutral state of being. You get more clarity and you give yourself time to respond. You don't feel like you have to rush your way through the response and tell them how you feel and blah, 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 and get it all out. You literally say what you need to say, even if it's just a few words, and you deliver the message and you leave it at that. So mindfulness meditation is really key when it comes to healing and overcoming toxic shame that you feel may have been taking over certain aspects of your life. Another thing that you can do with this mindfulness practice is to do daily check-ins on yourself and observe your thoughts for a couple of minutes a few times a day. So observe how you're speaking to yourself. What is your inner voice saying to you? What are you actually telling yourself on an internal level? And as you hear yourself, as you really become present with how you speak to yourself inside, it will automatically help you to dissipate and dissolve any anger that comes to the surface because of any suppression or because of any time you've been ignorant to your own inner world and own inner thoughts. The more you can observe your inner thoughts and consciously begin to sit with them, reprogram them, or just simply feel to heal and release, the easier it's going to be for you to start to develop more healthy thought patterns, more healthy energy, more space to allow yourself to integrate more new light codes, integrate more new energies, and integrate a healthy dialogue towards yourself. With a healthy dialogue, you'll be working on being more compassionate. You'll be working on being more loving. So instead of saying things like, "I can't believe you did that, you're so stupid, you shouldn't have done that," just listen to the vibration behind what I just said. Just listen to how different it sounds when we speak to ourselves that way. Now listen to the compassionate version. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. We all F up from time to time. We all make some accidents. but I'm learning from this, and I'm going to consciously continue to learn, and I'm going to allow myself freedom in the process of living my life, because I deserve it and I'm worthy of more. For those of you who do believe in a higher power, like Source, Spirit, Creator, for those of you who do believe in God, God forgives. God forgives us all over and over again for any sins, for any wrongdoings, for anything that we commit, so long as we truly mean it when we repent, so long as we truly mean it when we ask for forgiveness. So if God, the Creator, the Source and the Spirit of all things, can consistently forgive humanity for how much fuckery we commit while we are on this planet, then we ourselves should humble ourselves and find the humility to be able to forgive ourselves, because it is only when we forgive ourselves do we forgive others. And in forgiveness, we find a great respect for ourselves and a great respect to the God Creator Source within. When we stop shaming ourselves and blaming ourselves and putting ourselves down, then we can truly experience the spark of Spirit within us, because Spirit lives inside of us just as much as Spirit lives in everything else outside of us. So when we feel shameful, we're literally shaming our own spirit. When we feel guilty, we're literally guilting our own spirit. When we disrespect ourselves, we're disrespecting our own spirit. So when you see it that way, you start to develop love for yourself. You start to realize that the God and the Spirit and the Source that you pray to on the outside is living within you. And it's hurting that consciousness when we hurt ourselves in that way. So the more mindful we can become, the more we can forgive, the more we can pay attention to ourselves. Pay attention to yourself. Notice those words. You're paying yourself the attention that you so desperately seek outwardly. And when you pay yourself attention, attention comes from outside anyway. That's the effect of giving it to yourself. The effect of validating yourself is that you'll start to receive validation from the outside. It's a mirror, fam. Everything in this reality will mirror back to you how you feel on the inside. So the more you feel low vibrational energies like toxic shame, and the more you put yourself down, the more you're going to see that other people are going to do the same thing to you. They're going to shame you. They're going to continue to put you down. They're going to continue to disrespect you. But the more you cultivate self-respect, self-love, self-care, compassion for yourself, kindness for yourself, the more you can be real and true to yourself, the more you express your authentic self and stay in alignment with your integrity, the more you give yourself the attention, the time, the validation, the energy that you deserve, the more the world on the outside is going to reflect that back to you. It's a beautiful paradox, and it's a beautiful paradigm that we are a part of. And when we begin to understand how the energy truly works, then everything in our reality shifts to match our vibration. So with that said, fam, I'm going to get into this light language transmission. I hope that the information delivered in this channeling has helped you and can help you on your journey to healing shame. And the more open you can be, the more you can allow yourself to feel and heal, the more receptive you will be to these light codes. So you may find that you will come back to this video at another time when you are more open to receiving it, and that's completely fine. The more times you do it, the deeper it's going to go, the deeper the layers it's going to penetrate, and before you know it, the triggers will be dissolved and you'll be feeling much more free in your day-to-day reality. You'll be feeling much more confident and in your power. And that, my friends, is something that we all truly deserve, to be free. So take a deep, slow breath in, bringing your attention to your body, dropping your consciousness down into your heart center. And with each breath, continue to just feel relaxed, at one, at ease, in the here and now, in the present moment. Setting the intention that you are now ready to release and let go of any shame or toxic shame that you have carried in this lifetime or previous lifetimes. Anywhere where you have taken on the projection of shame from others around you or from traumatic experiences, and anywhere where you have shamed yourself or talked down upon yourself, simply set the intention that you are ready to release it all now and you're ready to let it go for good and be free.
Sarikete rikito rikatashi, sarikete rikito shikita, tarikete rikito shikita, takatoro kotoro kotate ta, tarikete takatok shokotate, rokoto takatate ta, trakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatakatare ta, tru sikete kitikatakshi, tru shikete kitikashikete, tru takatakatakatakatakati. Tru taka 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 takete traka shaka taka 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 ta taka shaka taka 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 takata tre takasaka takatakasokoto ta takashikitaka trakatakaso tro takata trakasakata ta shakata trakasakata ta takata trakasakata ta takasha trakatakash takasakata tro takasakata takato takatakarakatakash Trakasa